This kind of started when I was a kid. My brother and I used to get Christmas presents, scale model cars, and always enjoyed building them. My name is Bryce Michelmore, and I have a passion for building scale model cars, mostly hot rods and customs from the 50s and 60s. When I was about in my early teens, I found a copy of Scale Auto magazine, and I realised that adults did this as well, and it really ignited a passion in me to build replicas of famous cars and cars that inspired me in the real world. It got really interesting for me when I realised that you could buy aftermarket parts to give your model cars extra detail, and people were making their own parts, resin casting and scratch building things. The creativity inherent in that just really got me motivated to try and do some of that myself. The idea of making something that doesn't exist, making something from scratch yourself, creating a truly unique piece or a part of a car really got me motivated to get more into that. Back in the early days, most of the kits were American cars, which matched kind of what we were seeing in magazines and hot rod magazines and custom car magazines. My dad was also into American cars, so most of those things were familiar to me. It's difficult to get kits of Australian cars, so that was never really on our radar. American cars are more common, more popular in the modified car world. It's very much evolved over the years from being a personal hobby and passion. Social media allowed me to share that with a much broader audience, which has then allowed me to interact with people who wanted replicas of real cars, or actually if there was a car I was replicating, to share that with the actual owner, which is an amazing thing to get feedback from the person who might have inspired a model to say that they really like the model, people who might want to buy that model, or people who are happy to commission a build and pay for your time to actually replicate something as a gift or present or personal collection. Inspiration usually comes from something I've seen either in a magazine or online, and I'm very much motivated by creating something new or unique that doesn't exist, so I like a good creative challenge to solve. Sometimes it starts with a kit, something that's available. Sometimes it starts with an idea and then try and find something that'll work for that. Given time pressures, most of the time I'll start with something existing and then modify that to work. That doesn't always exist, so you have to make things. If a part doesn't exist that I need to replicate something, then generally I'll try to build it. If I need more than one of that, I might make a copy using a silicon mold and then cast in resin. So I've done that with tyres, with wheels and other small parts that you use multiples of. One of the current challenges I'm working on is resolving a 49 Caddy grille for a Chevy Custom that I'm building. Nothing exists in kit form for that, so I'm trying to modify an existing grille and make parts that make it look like the real thing. That can involve all sorts of challenges in terms of getting the right shapes and modifying things to have the right profiles and spending infinite amounts of time just making something work. I find it very meditative. It's a great creative outlet, and when I'm heavily involved in a project, I get a lot of mindfulness out of it. Sometimes if I've had a stressful day, you come out to the shed and sit at the bench for a couple of hours and your energy is all focused on one particular small part or project, and that can be really good for mindfulness. I also get a lot of satisfaction out of sharing the finished results on social media with other people that are involved in the scale model community and the car community more broadly. There's nothing more rewarding than someone who receives it as a gift, a replica of their real car. You know, the joy and the idea that someone's going to cherish something I've built forever after is really rewarding.